What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my dog over my boyfriend? So I, 22 female, and Bryce, 23 male, have been dating for about 8 months. We both go to school and work, and we each have our own apartments. But because mine is closer to campus, we attend the same school, he tends to stay with me the nights before he has early classes, which as of last semester was 3 days, but will change next semester. My dog, Cass, is my baby. He's a Chihuahua who was very underweight when I got him 4 years ago. He's better now, but he needs special digestive food, otherwise he has really bad diarrhea. A 20-pound bag costs around $60. This will be relevant later. I'm going to be honest and admit that my job pays well. I never bring that up with Bryce though. When we go on dates and have nights out, I'm more than happy to pay, and I've never made him pay for staying with me since it's not really full time. Well, today I decided to buy myself a heavy coat that was about $175. It's expensive for a coat, but I've been wanting it for a while and decided to spoil myself. I stopped at a pet store and bought Cass a few things, one of which was a coat that was literally $25, and went home. So I get home and Bryce is there. He sees my stuff and out of nowhere loses his crap. He starts yelling at me saying, "You spend way too much money on that dog. He's got shirts, way too many toys, expensive dog food, and I get jack crap. And now you got him a coat? Give me a freaking break." I explained to him that I bought the coat because I need to take him on walks every day since the vet said he's a bit on the heavier side now. His dog food is a necessity so he doesn't crap everywhere, and then he cut me off saying, "You couldn't deal with some dog crap for a few months to buy me something with that money?" And I was so thrown off because I literally got him an expensive watch for Christmas, and other things, but this was the big present. He said that it's a dog and that he doesn't need all this crap I buy, and that the money I spent on the dog stuff could have went towards him getting a new coat too, since he needed one. I told him that he has his own job that pays him, and to get himself a coat. Cass and I were not responsible in any way for him needing a new coat, and it wasn't my obligation to get him a new one. I was livid. I grabbed Cass, the emergency bag I have packed for both of us, and left, drove to my sister's house, and stayed there for the night and all of today. Bryce called me and told me to come home so we could fix this, but I told him he was being an arrogant a-hole for assuming I owe him anything. He then went off about how much of an a-hole I am and restated all his arguments from last night. I truly don't feel like or think I'm the a-hole, and believe I just stood up for myself and my lovely dog, but I do admit Cass is very spoiled and has lots of stuff that a lot of people would roll their eyes at. And I also feel slightly guilty that when I was shopping I didn't even think about getting Bryce anything. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I definitely should have kicked him out, but I was so upset and wanted to be away from him, and he was only in his underwear, so he would have taken a long time to leave. I'm going back tomorrow morning with my sister. Update. So I've talked with my sister and her husband, and they told me that the best thing to do right now is stay with them until I get the locks changed. After Bryce blowing up like that, he's never spoken to me about this. The way he insulted my dog when he knows Cass is my everything, combined with the fact that in the 8 months we've been together he has had minor anger temper issues, they were just never directed at me. I've decided I'm going to end things, especially after seeing your comments about him possibly hurting Cass. That's not a chance I'm willing to take. It's 2:30 a.m. right now, so I'll be arranging my locks to get changed when the store opens, and I'll be calling Bryce to inform him. Thank you guys so much for your opinions. I genuinely wouldn't have even thought about the fact he could hurt Cass via his food or saying he ran away, so I'm beyond grateful. First judgment from Pretty Senshi. Not the a-hole. Spoil your dog. Ditch your boyfriend. Edit. Thank you for the award. Next judgment from Rosalie Thornhill. You haven't even been together a year, and Bryce thinks he's entitled to your money. He says you've never given him anything? Give him his single status back. Edit. Thanks for the awards, kind strangers. Last judgment from Pista Chio. Not the a-hole, but I think you need to dump him. He sounds really ungrateful and emotionally and verbally abusive. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I'll stop paying for everything including therapy if he doesn't start looking for a job? My husband, male 32, and I, female 33, have been together for a total of 4 years. He's dealt with depression and anxiety since 2019. He completely shut down, quit his job, sold his car, emptied his savings, and stopped seeing his friends and family and started spending his day doing nothing. Not a thing. None. It took months before realizing he was dealing with a mental health issue, and I've arranged for him to see a therapist. He was against it at first, but then agreed to give it a try. He got better and his quality of life improved. He regained his quality of life, He started going out and becoming sociable. He bought a new car and did a 180 makeover from hair, clothes, and working out, and even adopted 2 dogs. It was miraculous, and I was happy that he got his life back. Except that he still doesn't work. Not only that, but he used my money to get this transformation done. When I tried to talk to him about finding a job since he's now doing well, he tried to put the idea off and say he needs more therapy to be ready to start committing to a job and start working. This went on for months, and he jumped from therapist to therapist and still said he is not ready to look for a job yet, goes out with friends, eats out, buys new gadgets, and now a screen to watch his favorite TV shows. Last night, we had a huge argument after I found out he bought a $200 wristwatch for himself using my credit card. I couldn't handle it, and I shouted at him that it was time for him to find a job. He tried to use the, "I'm still not ready for this kind of commitment yet," but I blocked his attempt and told him I'd stop paying for everything, including his therapy. He got mad and replied that threatening to stop paying for everything, even his therapy, will set him back and we both won't get where we want to be. But I told him he was a hypocrite for saying he's not ready to look for a job since he's living completely normal, and may I say, a lavish life? He called me unbelievable and walked out. He called his mom telling her I was losing it, and she got in the middle telling me off about what I said and told me to have some sympathy for him as he's still struggling to regain his strength. But I told her to stay out of it, which caused more rage from my in-laws. They're arranging for a meeting with me, but I don't plan on going, which might make matters worse. I just think at this point he's milking it. Am I the a-hole for my stance? What is worse is that now I'm the bad guy in my in-laws' eyes. They accuse me of trying to hold his progress back when I said I won't pay for therapy anymore and financially keep controlling him, and claimed that I'm preventing him from getting better. First judgment from India Jewel Jacks. Not the a-hole. Die on this hill, OP. Speak to a lawyer and see what your options are. As it stands, you have a child, not a partner. Treat him accordingly. Next judgment from Anarchia. Not the a-hole. He's using you. I have mental health problems. Oh, do I? So I'm not unsympathetic, but no. Put on your own oxygen mask first. Your own mental health does not need to suffer in order to help. Pamper, enable your husband. Next judgment from SJMS89. Not the a-hole. You signed up for a partner, not a child, and it is so wrong for an adult to get their parents involved in their marital issues. I would go to this meeting and tell your husband and in-laws he can move back home to his parents if he doesn't want to be a responsible adult. My guess is his parents don't want him back, and that is why they are trying to get you to continue being his mother. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom she can't wear white to my wedding? I, 23 female, am back in the States with my fiance, 24 male, for the holidays. While here, my best friend planned a surprise engagement party for me and my fiance where all my close friends and family were invited to celebrate our engagement. This party included my immediate family and family friends, which consists of mostly my mom's best friends and their families. The party's in full swing, and since I and my fiance have been in Scotland for the past few months, we're very busy catching up with my family friends. Midway through the party, my best friend pulls me to the side and asks me if I had seen the dress my mom is telling everyone that she's wearing to the wedding. Confused, I make my way across the room to talk to my mother and I ask her about the whole situation. Unfazed, she very excitedly shows me this white, sparkly gown with what looked like a 2-foot sweep train in the back. The dress looked like a wedding dress. I was shocked. I had barely even begun wedding planning, and somehow my mother had already managed to begin to derail my wedding. I asked her if she was serious, and she simply nodded her head and tells me about how she went shopping the moment she heard I was engaged and thought it was perfect. I didn't want to cause a scene at the party, so I waited until we all went home to address my mother after everyone went to sleep. I basically asked her if it was possible for her to find another dress, as my wedding wouldn't be for at least 2 years, and I very plainly wasn't comfortable with her wearing a white dress that had a train and basically looked like a wedding dress. My mom then got very huffy and basically said that, "If she looked good in it, then why shouldn't she wear it?" and began to double down and tell me that if I was worried about her overshadowing me at my wedding, then that would be my problem and I shouldn't let others make me feel inferior or ruin my day. She then went on a rant about how she didn't understand why I was making such a big deal about the wedding since all I needed was a church and all the family there and nothing else should matter if I'm with my husband, and we're getting married in a church. She's a very devout Catholic. Then proceeded to point out that if I was really focusing on what dress she was wearing and other small details like flowers, venues, music, and other things, then I was being really shallow and maybe shouldn't get married at all. I reiterated my point about while that may be, it's my wedding, and I would not feel comfortable if anyone else showed up in an overly expensive white dress comparable to my white dress, and I didn't care how that made me look. She then told me I'm shallow and should go to church to rethink my actions because obviously I'm not ready for marriage, if that's all I'm focused on. Am I the a-hole for asking my mom not to wear a white dress to my wedding? First judgment from Crystal Queen 3000. Not the a-hole. There's no way your mother doesn't know that this is a huge faux pas. She's either jealous or insecure and wants to upstage you. Tell her if she sticks to her guns on it, that she'll be uninvited to the wedding. Then she'll know how serious you are. Next judgment from Dis-Indian though. Not the a-hole at all. Your mom in this situation belongs on r/raised by narcissists. She's gaslighting you and wants this wedding to be about her. Please stand up for yourself, or else, looking back, I'm sure you're going to regret it and be bitter about it. Asking your own freaking mom to not wear white isn't asking a lot, at all, and you shouldn't even have to ask. Everyone knows not to wear white to a Christian wedding. Has she always gone out of her way to seek this much attention? Moving on. Am I the a-hole for saying that if mother-in-law makes one more comment about the engagement or ring, she will not be invited to the wedding? I got engaged 2 months ago and I was thrilled. Our relationship is super strong, and I'd say our only real problem is that his mom is a nightmare, but he is in agreement about putting me first and enforcing boundaries. The first time I saw her after the engagement, she took my hand and held my ring up against hers and just smiled at me. Hers is considerably bigger. She told me it was cute for a starter ring, and said she was sorry she threw her first engagement ring into the ocean, or she could have passed it down to me. I replied that I am superstitious and wouldn't wear a ring from a failed marriage, and mother-in-law said, well, anything would be bigger than that. A week later at her anniversary, her husband gave her some jewelry, and she held it up against my ring, moved it to make it sparkle and giggled. My fiancé had a talk with her and let her know to knock it off. She then asked if I was disappointed with my proposal because we were just on the couch. To be honest, I was, and it was embarrassing because I felt she could sense it. I said the proposal doesn't matter, and she said she feels like that is just something society wants women to believe, so they have low standards. The last straw was when she told my proposal story to her stepdaughter, who made a face, and then mother-in-law said, maybe I don't mind boring because I'm an accountant. I snapped at her that if she made one more comment, she would not be invited to the wedding. Mother-in-law said that is fine, and she thinks she might be out of the country anyway if we go with the date we thought we would. Why didn't she tell us that originally? Mother-in-law's husband, enabler from hell, said she is just acting like this because she is mad that I got engaged the day before her birthday and showed up to her huge, think luxury wedding size, party wearing my ring. I didn't even think of it, but that makes sense because mother-in-law's best friend accidentally ruined my outfit and I had to leave. Mother-in-law's husband said I should apologize to her. My first thought was hell no, but other family members said she was just getting even and I should just drop it. First judgment from Nut Me Shell. Not the a-hole. Does this woman realize that she isn't even criticizing you? She's being critical of the ring her son picked out and the way her son proposed. OP responds, she does. She's made comments before about how I must have low self-esteem because she wouldn't settle for a man who treated her like that. He doesn't treat me badly at all, but mother-in-law's husband treats her like an absolute princess. She didn't raise him and is very critical and views his behavior as a reflection of her much-hated ex-husband. Next judgment from Jack's Files. Not the a-hole, but you don't just have a mother-in-law problem, you have a fiancé problem. Where's your partner in all of this? You said he's in agreement about putting you first and enforcing boundaries, but it sounds like she's having a field day with you and I don't hear where he is stepping in to brush her back. It's not just the ring she's picking on, it's your career, the proposal, ruining your outfit. There could have been a rock bottom for this behavior. At the very least, he is allowing her to continue to dig. It's his parents and he needs to stand up. Stop waiting for one more comment about the ring. You got enough info by now, surely. Could be time to go low, no contact, and visiting r/justknowmother-in-law for support. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my sister-in-law TikToks to family group chat causing her an anxiety attack? When I, 28 female, first met my sister-in-law, Ann, 30, I heard about her having a TikTok account based on her looking after her old disabled cats, but don't use TikTok, so I never checked it out. That was until my husband's niece asked to meet for coffee to talk. At first she asked me how I was doing mentally and what I had against my brother's girlfriend, Ann. I was beyond clueless, because I thought me and Ann, were okay relationship-wise. Now don't get me wrong, I haven't spoken to her much because I'm extremely busy, but other than that, I couldn't think of anything. She pulled out her phone and showed me multiple TikToks of Ann telling her followers about my Just Know family. I'll just list a few things. My mother being so sad of a just no mother-in-law that they had to get a restraining order against her. I demanded my kids play with her cats and had a tantrum when she said no. I'm a nurse, so you know I've seen what happens when kids mistreat animals. I'm dependent on my brother and demand he gives me all his time and money. May my mother call everything she does in life shameful because she's not modest or religious like us. The last and worse is that I'm anti-everything, which as a nurse could have cost me my job. I ended up making an account, downloaded all the videos, and sent them to the family group chat. You can imagine what happened next, but instead of giving an answer, both my brother and sister-in-law blocked everyone. Anyone in my family who had the app followed her cat account, but were blocked on her main. My cousin ended up making a TikTok debunking her videos, but her account was already gone. My brother ended up calling me screaming down the phone about his girlfriend having an anxiety attack, and I should have came to them first. Apparently he said she makes up those stories for views so she can become a creator, and it also helps with her anxiety. He said if anything ever got out of hand, they would go on the record about it being made up. Update. Thank you all for your advice, especially other nurses and healthcare workers. I didn't reply because I got too busy, then fell asleep the minute I came home, but I should have talked to the chief nursing officer and showed her the TikToks. She basically laughed at the obvious lies, and like many people here, told me to take some kind of legal action so if someone tries to cancel me, I'd have a paper trail proving the lies that my coworker Medical Info couldn't. I've told my brother this, and I also said I wasn't sister-in-law to make a TikTok saying everything was false. My sister refused to do anything, even tried to get my cousin's TikTok account banned for bullying, and said we are causing her emotional distress. Her relationship with my family is over because when the aunties turn against you in my culture, that's it. There's no coming back. Brother and Ann are now trying to make themselves the victim, but have yet to come back to social media, so I will probably have more updates in the coming weeks or months. First judgment from the Quixotic Tribble. Not the a-hole. She doesn't get to rip apart everybody's reputation with made-up stories for popularity. Next judgment from Bubble UJ. Not the a-hole. What was her plan if you lost your job because of her lies and then sued her for libel? One final judgment from Handy Dandy 2020. Not the a-hole. Well, it did get out. So where are they to own up to lying?